Hey folks, Melinda here. I am trying something new with you all, just using my YouTube channel as a way to get you to link up with the Enya podcast and the Substack resources, all these tools that invite you into my community, Enya, everyone needs you always, and the toolbox approach, where I just push out to you tons and tons of tools to reprocess your stuck points, any emotional baggage that you have, and just go underneath the story that you think is there about your life for a deeper meaning and deeper reprocessing that will help you, kind of work on the real stuff. So today I'm just going to give you a little a thought about, kind of how we all start underutilizing one of our biggest tools, which is our emotions. Growing up as a child of the 1980s, you were supposed to just know how to go out and play. My parents and a lot of kids' parents where I lived were all raised in urban areas like the Bronx and Queens, two boroughs out of the five of New York, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Manhattan being the others. They didn't get it that they moved to the suburbs and we could really not do that go out and play thing that easily. But luckily, the Milton Bradley company gave us games like Operation, Battleship. I don't know if you guys remember these, Hungry Hungry Hippos and Mall Madness, to name a few. These games were supposed to help us be social with one another, take turns and be nice, but they taught us really very little about feelings and how to process them. That's my focus today. Whether you're a child of the 1980s or not, many of us miss out on any lessons in how to identify and process feelings and communicate them. Children who don't know how to grow into adults, who don't know how, or who have had very painful experiences in finding out in classrooms called real life, we don't know how to process feelings. We grow into adults who don't know how to process feelings. So the first thing to recognize is that all your emotions happen in the body first before we know them as words, such as happy or sad. There are 7 basic emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, love, contempt, and joy, and some add an 8th, which is surprise. Basic emotions are thought to have evolved in response to the ecological challenges faced by our ancestors and are so primitive as to be hardwired into the brain in us today, with each one operating along its own dedicated neurological circuit. Being hardwired, basic emotions, and sometimes, scientifically we call them affect programs. They're innate, automatic, fast, reactive, and trigger behavior, altogether a package with a high survival value. But, somehow our understanding of emotions has reverted away from being valuable to survival to something to suppress. We need to be able to feel our emotional experience, however, and we need to know where it is felt in our bodies in order to process fully what our experience is and help it be adaptive for ourselves and for our relationships. For example, the game Operation from my childhood would give an alarming buzz if you were operating poorly somehow, making us all cautious and edgy to remove any kind of performance operation. And this is still with us today. We're so afraid to feel the tight chest that may indicate anything from fear to anxiety to shame that, we just grab for that vape, get our relief, and only have a fuzzy data on what it is that created that tight chest. We push into the head and say it was that breakup, or I have to find a higher paying job, but we've avoided the experience. And this is just a guess our thinking part of our brain makes. So we're taught to be afraid of the buzz, just like in the game Operation, when we are touching on the wrong body part, so to speak, as we are working on things and trying to figure out difficulties, we might give up because, it's that same new, I guess, hardwired experience to be afraid of what you're feeling. And we have to rewire and relearn this response now. Now, when we do this working on ourselves and our emotional stuck points, we need to hit on those points, correctly and listen. This video today serves as an invitation to my podcast and Substack pages that are linked below in the notes. I will go over briefly where you feel emotions in the body being key to determining how you feel and what is actually coming up, so as to help you detect more accurately what it relates to. Most of my work as a therapist is in reprocessing trauma, especially traumas that date back to childhood, helping people go back to the felt sense of it without telling the details and being distracted by a verbal or what we call episodic memory is key to determining whether they have unprocessed feelings of rejection, abandonment, neglect, manipulation, or even being violated, to name a few, without having to point to specific incidents. So knowing that felt sense is so important to reprocessing. Recent research using like a thermal body mapping has shown that emotions can either activate or deactivate certain parts of the body. For instance, love may activate the full body, while depression may deactivate the same exact area. Most of us are aware when emotions have a physical effect on our bodies. Some people with anxiety may feel a tightening in the chest, stomach, or throat, while others who feel anger tend to experience heat in their head, chest, and arms. And so it's really important to tap into that and know the difference between anxiety and anger is very profound. So some questions you might ask yourself when you're feeling, unsettled or are unsure of what emotions you're experiencing are: where in your body are you feeling the disturbance or emotion? What does the disturbance or emotion feel like? Tightening, heavy, light, frenetic, sometimes, flowing. When did you start to experience this feeling in the body? Was it going on at the time? And what was going on at the time? What is your mind telling you about this feeling? Are you judging it, or are you able to observe it without trying to fix or change it? And who can you talk to about this feeling? Those are a few questions you can begin with. You might take a few minutes to breathe prior to answering these questions in order to gain more awareness about what's going on within. You might also consider journaling the answers to these questions for even more clarity. Either way, taking time to understand your feelings and where they stem from will give you increased insight into yourself and your behaviors. I hope you can check this out, and thanks for listening.